Today, we're going to talk about why I don't think you should be buying the Apple USB-C adapter. Late in 2018, Apple announced the brand new iPad Pro complete with a USB-C adapter, and I got very excited about the potential and the possibilities of using the USB-C iPad Pro with the Apple USB-C adapter. It has an HDMI or a VGA adapter on there, depending on which kind you buy, pass-through charging in another USB-C port, and a standard USB-A slot. So a very useful little hub, and it's the kind of thing where you know if you're not buying knockoff brands or you're buying the Apple branded products, they will work well with the other Apple branded products and things should just work fine, right? Turns out that's not true at all, and that's why I have the new setup, the different setup than what I normally have for the office today. Today what I've got going here is a monitor to replicate what the jury would see in a courtroom and to replicate something that I encountered in a trial we recently were supporting. And here I have kind of the brains of all our courtroom AV systems, which is a 6-port multimedia hub with a distribution amplifier on the bottom, so we could split the signal out to different monitors, to projector, and whatever else needs to display whatever's connected to the switch. And so what I want to do today is talk about cable lengths of HDMI, and this is something that I've done before. And right in here I have a 30-foot HDMI cable and I have a 50-foot HDMI cable. And when we were using the regular iPad Pros, the Lightning edition ones, and using a Lightning to HDMI adapter, we were able to work them with the 50-foot HDMI cables without issue. So that was something that we were very confident in. But when it came to the HDMI cables using the Apple HDMI adapter, we ran into some issues. So first thing what I'll do is I'll connect it to the 30-foot cable, and let me switch to input 1. And we'll see what happens when I connect that to my iPad. And what I get is I can open up TrialPad. I can see there's a notification in the upper right-hand corner of my iPad. And I can hit the output button and then present an exhibit, zoom in, and do whatever I need to do that way. So that's all working completely fine. And so the other thing that I will test though is now let's switch from the 30-foot HDMI cable to the 50-foot HDMI cable. So we'll do that. Switch inputs. Same exhibit. Try to plug that in. The iPad will recognize that something is attached to the USB-C port, and the receiver will recognize, and it just flickered right there really quickly, I don't know if you saw it, but the receiver will recognize that something has been attached to it. But every time I try to hit the output button on the iPad, it says that there's no external display detected. I just took a quick screenshot of that so you guys could see what that looks like. Now the weird thing is, then if I disconnect the Apple branded USB-C to HDMI adapter and go with one that I got on Amazon that is a fraction of the price, this one is from Cable Matters. I'm still with the red 50-foot HDMI cable. When I plug that in, I'll give it a moment to kind of connect and recognize what's going on. Once it does that, then I can hit the output on button. You could see my screen has turned to a gradient and I can present the exhibit just fine. And so I'm not sure why we're running into that kind of an issue with this. I can even try it with another brand as well. It's not just one versus another. This is another one that I got on Amazon, very cheap. I like this one. It has a little bit of a braided cable, aluminum construction, very slim. Plug that in and same thing, another HDMI to USB-C adapter. This one will still work on the iPad. And so I don't know why it is that the Apple branded one doesn't work with longer HDMI cables or isn't as capable as much cheaper alternatives. This is the reason why I'm paranoid about stuff and have really weird rules of thumb, which end up sounding like superstitions, is because I come across things like this. Now in the situation where we ran into this in the courtroom, what we ultimately ended up doing was we couldn't figure out, and I didn't realize that this USB-C adapter was the problem. So what we did was, instead of running a 50-foot HDMI cable, we ran HD-based-T, so a way of converting an HDMI signal into Ethernet cable. Then we ran a long 50-foot Ethernet cable to a converter and then had like a 15-foot HDMI cable that I knew would work attached to that, and that connected to the iPad. So a bit of a surprise for us. I Didn't really expect that at all, but hopefully this will save you guys some grief and some headache. If you have any questions about this setup or what I've done or some of these testing parameters, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you guys down there. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.